But if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. We also will take verse number 7. Yaspindriyani manasa niyamyar bharate juna karmendriyai karma yogam asakta savishishyate. Translation. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Purport. Instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime Swarthagati or goal of self-interest is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashrama is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life, as prescribed in the Shastras, and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. Hare Krishna. Very powerful verses. Purports are very powerful here. What does it say? It says, you cannot take up spirituality as a profession. It is a service. It is part of devotion. One should not mix up devotion and profession. They are separate. But there are some people, because what happens when somebody advances in devotion and advances in spirituality, person receives knowledge way far beyond the ordinary toiling masses. With that result, attains a status, and because of that, people actually respect and hold the position in a high pedestal they put. And this is what cheaters want to do. Actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, this is a world of cheaters and cheated. And therefore he is cautioning us, Prabhupada is cautioning us, do not fall prey to cheaters. See, if you want to buy gold, what will you do? Where will you go? Will you go to the Reserve Bank of India official standard gold which is given over there, or will you go to a panwala shop? Simple. You will go to an authorized place. Similarly, for knowledge of spirituality, for knowledge of God, one must come and join a Guru Shishya Parampara, authorized Guru Shishya Parampara. There, pure knowledge will be disseminated. Otherwise, if one just goes to unauthorized places, then what happens? These kind of situations will arise. People who try to make a living out of spirituality, they want big number of followers, but they are not qualified to give that knowledge, because it is mentioned over here, they have not been able to control their mind and senses. That is the test of a person who has attained spirituality. If you are able to control the mind or senses through the mind. So this entire topic, Karma Yoga, even before that, we have been dealing with sense control. See, There is, what is the meaning of the word integrity? Integrity means true and honest. Three things have to fall in one line, then there is integrity. What are the three words? Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. Manasa means thoughts, mind. Vacha means the words. And Karmana means the actions. All these three, if they are in one single straight line, then there is integrity. What a person does is what he says, and that is in keeping with what his thought is. It is not that he has got an ulterior motive inside and he is professing something else outside because he wants the ulterior motive to be achieved. This is where you have cheating gurus. This is where you have charlatans. That means people who actually try to win over the trust of people, of the masses, and then cheat them. Because their intention is never to be spiritual. Their intention is just to tap the resources by cheating those people who are gullible. Therefore, it is said, if you want to buy gold, you must have some knowledge of gold. Otherwise, you will go to a panwala shop and he has got nice polished brass vessels which shines like gold. So, and if you are looking for cheap gold, what will happen? Gold has got its value. You are not willing to pay the price. Then what happens? You will settle for something very cheap. He says, okay, this is gold, take it. Of course. Why is it cheating? Because you want to be cheated. That is the answer. So understand one thing. Cheaters and cheated. See, whenever there is a demand for a product, now for example, we had COVID a few years back. What was their demand? There was heavy demand for mask. So many people were selling masks on the footpath. From where did it come? Because there is demand, there is supply. But were all those masks genuine? They were not. They were not up to the standard. They just made cheap masks because people wanted to buy cheap. You understand? This is the mentality of cheaters and cheated. Now what is happening in Diwali? This is Diwali time. What is happening here? There is heavy demand for milk and milk products. Why? Because Diwali people want to make sweets. They want to sell sweets. A lot of demand for people to buy sweets. But do you think cows will suddenly give more milk in Diwali? Then what has happened? That is adulteration. They adulterate and they create huge quantities of mawa and other things are being sold. And every year you see the newspapers. There is a raid. They have caught so many people adulterating and cautioning people, don't buy adulterated milk, don't fall for all these things. Same thing even in the spiritual field. This is the mentality of being cheater and cheated. So that is what we have to take against. So what is mentioned here, let us just see what is mentioned very nicely. Dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment while making a pretense of sense control. This is the point. Prabhupada would tell people there is nothing like artificial renunciation. One should not artificially renounce. He says, I am running an organization which is international and worldwide. If anybody is coming to give donation, I will accept with both my hands. I am not telling I don't want money, but there are people who are heading spiritual organizations say, no, we don't want money. Prabhupada says, no, we want money, but how do we use money? That is the point. Use money in the service of Krishna. That is their service. I'll tell you now, this is Diwali. During Diwali, what is very common? What is the puja that is done in Diwali? Which puja? Huh? Lakshmi Puja, right. So, regarding Lakshmi Puja, what is Lakshmi? Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. Who is Lakshmi? She is the goddess of wealth. Who does not want wealth, you tell me? Everybody wants wealth. And what is wrong with wealth? Nothing is wrong with wealth. But what do the acharyas tell us? They say, do not worship Lakshmi separately, worship Lakshmi with Narayan. That is the process. Why? Where is Lakshmi sitting? You see those pictures which you find. Where is she sitting? At the feet of Narayan. And what is she doing? Pressing the feet. What does it signify? Who is Lakshmi? She is goddess of wealth. But what is she doing? What are her actions? She is serving the Lord. She is serving Lord Narayan. That is why they say Lakshmi Chanchal hai. Chanchal means what? She will not stay in one place. If somebody is running after Lakshmi, they want wealth and they want to use wealth for sense enjoyment. And that is not in the service of the Lord. She does not want to be part of that. She will go away. So if you want Lakshmi, simple method is worship Narayan. Where Narayan comes, Lakshmi will automatically come. She is always following Narayan. She will be at the feet of Narayan. That is her position. So this is the simple guideline Acharyas are giving us how to approach spirituality in its true sense. Should not be misguided, should not be cheated. And therefore, those who are genuinely looking for spirituality and not for pseudo-spirituality, then they must also know certain things. If you want to buy gold, you must know how to test gold. You know how do you test gold? There is a stone and you rub it on it. You get a line. And if you take gold which is mixed with copper and rub it, you will find a difference in the shade of both the lines. The one with pure gold will be pure yellow in color, and the one with copper mixed will have a reddish tinge. You can see it. I have actually seen it in the goldsmith shop. So they show you that देखो ये 22 कैरेट का है, ये 24 कैरेट का है. They explain to you. And then they show you by actually drawing the line. You can make out. So one must have some basic knowledge. That is why it is explained that one has to read the Gita. One has to read Bhagavatam. One has to associate with devotees. One should not be left in isolation. You cannot sit at home and do bhakti on your own. For doing bhakti, first thing you need is a guru, one who can guide you. And guru, how do you get? I have told before, I am repeating again. Google search. You get everything by Google search, but not guru. How do you get guru? By soul search. Search your soul. Look inside. If you are looking for truth, if you are looking for a platform on which to base your life, a healthy and the right platform on which to base your life, on which to base your principles, then God will send a guru in your life. I am telling you, I came here in 1990 and I have met so many devotees here. Nobody has come here with the intention of taking Diksha or doing this. No, they have come because they were looking for something positive. And over a period of time, they have got initiated, they have got Diksha, they have been initiated in the Guru Shishya Parampara, and all these things are happening. And then here, the true knowledge is revealed in Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the true practices are being followed. If you want gold, you have to pay the price. And the price is, you have to engage in devotional service and gradually minimize your sense gratification. This is the price you have to pay. But it cannot be done overnight. It happens gradually, little by little. How do children study when go to school? They play with their friends. But खेल खेल में सीख लेते हैं. They learn along with the play. They learn better in the association of other children. Alone at home, it may become boring for them, or they may not understand. So how do you learn a language? By speaking. You must have somebody to speak to, no? Somebody speaks that language, you also speak the language, and gradually you will correct your mistakes and you will learn. Exactly in the same way in spirituality, when a person enters, they may initially be making mistakes. That is all right. But then, when they have somebody to guide, and then they have somebody who has got the right knowledge and the right approach, then they are corrected, they stand corrected. Now, in the second verse, what is mentioned here, see, it's very important. It is very difficult to control the senses artificially. There is a rasgulla. The temptation is to eat the rasgulla because it is very delicious. And a person has got diabetes. Should he eat or should he not eat? He should not eat. What happens if he eats? his diabetes will increase. But that sense control is required over there. This is just an example. There are so many sense objects for which people fall for it. So, therefore, you need people to guide you, you need people to tell you, and that is what is available in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Everything is set to a particular regulation. You have to regulate your activities. If you want to live an unregulated life, then what are you? Just an animal. Animal, when it wants something, it will go and start eating. It doesn't wait for any etiquette or formality. If it doesn't want, it will just run away. That's all. We are not animals, we are human beings. Human beings have got higher values in life. We don't live just to eat, but rather we eat to live. Because we have to utilize our life for a higher purpose. And what is that higher purpose of life? Self-realization and God-realization. They both go hand in hand. Because yourself, you are the spirit soul, and the spirit soul is part and parcel of God. So the minute there is God-realization, there is also self-realization. So you must know the distinction between matter and spirit. And all these things are given in the Gita, very clearly explained. The second chapter, we have done it. So, now it is also explained further. There is the classic story of Vishwamitra Muni. Vishwamitra Muni, 60,000 years he did tapasya. Now here again I will ask you one point. How can you do tapasya for 60,000 years? Is it possible? Is it possible? Therefore people say this is mythology. But please understand, see, there is difference in time zones. We are in Kali Yuga, lifespan of a human being is 100 years. In the earlier Yuga, that was Dwapar Yuga, the lifespan was 1000 years. And in the earlier Yuga, which was Treta Yuga, lifespan was 1000 multiplied by 10. That means 10,000 years. And before that, in the Satya Yuga, 10,000 multiplied by 10 was 1 lakh years. So in Satya Yuga, people had a lifespan of 1 lakh years. Vishwamitra Muni's story is set in Satya Yuga. So if you understand the scriptures properly, you have a scientific answer for things. And then you will be able to appreciate the principles involved. He did tapasya for 60,000 years because Satya Yuga, Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnu. In Satya Yuga, the method of attaining the Lord was meditation. So he sat in meditation, but just he heard the ankle bells of Menaka, and that disturbed his concentration, and he fell for her. So he lost control of his senses. So controlling the senses by yourself is very difficult. This is what the story wants to teach us. So therefore, we have to take help of higher authorities. Therefore, we have to fix our mind on God, the emblem of purity. When you do that, then your senses automatically fall in line. You get the higher taste, you will overcome the lower taste. I'll give you another story. Story of Dhruva. Story of Dhruva. Dhruva was a 5-year-old boy. His mother, her name was Suruchi. And King Uttanapad, he was very fond of Suruchi. He had another wife, that was Suniti. Good behavior, Suniti. Her son was Dhruva. He was just 5 years old. He wanted to sit on the lap of his father, king. She pulled him down. She said, if you want to sit on the lap of the king on the throne, you should have been born from my womb. Therefore, you are not qualified. She ill-treated him. Now, he was by birth a Kshatriya. He could not take the insult. So, he looked up to his father for support. His father put his head down because he was favoring Suruchi. So he went crying to his mother, Suniti. She told, yes, it is a fact that your father favors the other queen. Therefore, our only hope is Narayan. And the yogis go to the forest to attain Narayan. He went to the forest. Narad Muni came there to meet him. How did Narad Muni come? How did he know this boy is coming? Answer is very simple. This is what I said. If you are looking for the truth, God will send a guru to you. Narad Muni came as guru. First he tested him. What did he ask him? What do you want? You are a 5-year-old boy. Go and play in the palace. This is your age to play. What are you trying to do in the forest? He said, he showed his determination. Do you want to help me? Don't come to advise me. He gave a clear-cut answer. Immediately Narad Muni understood this boy is very serious. And he guided him how to do tapasya. And he met Narayan. Lord Narayan appeared in front of him. Again there was a second test. Narayan said, "Oh Dhruva, now you have qualified. Tell me what you want. You want a big kingdom, you want a queen, you want riches, you want mystic powers. Whatever you want, I'll give you." Now Dhruva's position was different. Having seen Narayan, coming in contact with the Supreme Truth, it brings about a difference in your personality. All your lower taste will fall down. Why did he do tapasya in the first place? Because he wanted a kingdom bigger than that of his father. Because his mother had challenged him, his stepmother had challenged him. So now he wanted to take revenge. He came with that thought. So it was a material desire. Now what happens? Now he has seen the Lord. Only there is a chemical change that has taken place in him. All the material based desires have completely dried and fallen down. This is what a yogi needs. They have to dry up. Your material desires have to go. Your desires have to be purified. That is the way of progressing in spirituality, not suppressing them. Just by suppressing the symptoms of a disease, the disease is not lost. So, those medicines which help to suppress the disease, they will give temporary cure. They have not actually suppressed the disease, but they are only giving a temporary cure. That doesn't help. But when that desire itself is purified, then the person is not a victim of temptations. And then what happens? Now Dhruva is telling. He says, that there's a beautiful shloka which he says that Tvam Praptvan Deva Muni Indra Guhyam, that is to attain you, even Deva, Devatas, Indra, Muni, even for them you are not attainable. Even for them it is difficult to find you. And he says, Kanchin Vichinnam Api Divya Ratnam. Now that I have seen you, you are like a diamond, shining diamond. Now I am not interested in broken pieces of glasses. A kingdom bigger than that of my father. I am not interested in that. Kingdom bigger than that of Brahma. I am not interested in that. Now that I have seen you, Swami Krithartho Asmi Varam Na Yache. I am fully satisfied. I don't want any benediction. This was the statement of Dhruva. Sthan abhilashi tapaso sthito aham. He says, I was attracted by power and position. I wanted to become a king. Sthan abhilashi tapaso sthito aham. I therefore sat down to do tapasya. Deva Muni Indra Guhyam. But you are not attainable even to these people. Now that I have attained you, now I am not interested in these things. So this transformation has to come in a person. That is true spirituality. The baser taste has to fall down. And that comes when you come in contact with the higher person. That is with Krishna. But how to connect to Krishna? Through the chanting of his holy name. How to connect to Krishna? By engaging in his devotional service. He has set up that method. It is his method. Therefore it works. Nobody can artificially manufacture it. It is already given, you follow it and you get the benefit. So just coming to the temple, even if you just take a broom and sweep the floor, but consistently on a regular basis, that is counted as devotional service. And it has to be done under instructions of a spiritual master, not haphazardly. Suddenly you come, take a broom and start sweeping and say, chalo ho gaya. No, it doesn't work that way. It has got to be consistent, perseverance, regular, regulated. Then what happens? It has its effect. All your inner setup, that is a chemical change that takes place in the person. Otherwise the outer change is only a cosmetic change. Cosmetic change does not help. That has got to be purification of the heart. I spoke about purification last time also. So this topic continues in the same way. So this is how it works. I think I'll stop here now, and maybe we can take some 5 minutes, yeah? Or maybe we'll take something more, and I'll just explain one more point now. See, a pretender is able to restrain his senses from action, but his mind is still dwelling on it. Mithyacharasa uchyate, that is the word used in the shloka. I would really request you should go home and read the Gita. You should take interest, give your time. This is a simple principle if you want to really progress in spirituality. That is, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho asti na priya. Mai tem, one who actually learns to give his time, dedicate his time for the study of the scriptures, for associating with devotees, for coming to the temple, for having darshan of the Lord, then what happens? That is seen as currency by Krishna. That is Krishna's currency. He wants payment in his currency. If you want to buy from US, you have to pay in dollars. If you want to buy from UK, you have to pay in pounds. If you want to buy from Krishna, you have to pay in time. Utilize your time for his services. And then you will see that you get the goods in return. And what are the goods? Love of God. Bhagavat Prem. And when that comes, what happens? Automatically you will engage in the service. Why? Love and service are interrelated. Where there is love, there is a tendency to serve, unasked for. Nobody need ask you for any service, but you want to serve that person whom you love. You love your children, you will serve your children. You love your parents, you will serve your parents. You love your teacher, you will serve your teacher. This is how life goes on. So when there is love, there is service. So now Acharyas are teaching us, learn to serve the Lord, then the dormant love for the Lord in your heart will awaken. It will come up. And that will be the perfection of human life. And then what happens? All the unwanted desires will fall off like dry leaves. Because now they don't get nourishment. Nourishment comes from the negative qualities. Sense gratification gets us nourishment from the negative qualities. What are the negative qualities? Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. These are the things that nourish the negative feelings. So when you cut off that supply, and then when you give the supply of genuine love of God, just to get that, all that you need to do is start serving the Lord under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. This is the simple process. And once this is done, everything will fall in line. Then things are not an issue at all. Then it becomes a matter of fact. Matter of fact. But then the initial thing is you have to give your time. Some people may say, I don't have time, I'm so busy. Fine, understand one thing. Your present situation in life is the result of your past desires. According to your past desires, your present situation has been created by Lord specially tailor-made for each one of us. So when we purify our present desires, we are preparing ourselves for a suitable environment to progress in devotion. Then things will automatically fall in place. Automatically means what? If you don't do, then he is doing it. Nothing happens automatically. Either you do or somebody else does. Only then things happen. So when you don't do and the Lord does, you don't see it. But then that is the science. This is spiritual science. See, spirituality has a higher science. It is a more sophisticated science than material science. This is what we have to understand. And therefore, the tendency to put off spiritual truths as mythology should be overcome. One must understand spirituality in its true sense. Then you will be able to accept all the facts that are mentioned in the itihasas. Ramayana and Mahabharata are known as itihasas. They are not known as mythology. That is not the right heading. The right heading is itihasa. Itihas means history. It has really happened. That is what one should understand. So I think we can take some questions if somebody has, and then because now it will be time for darshan, and so kirtan can start after that. If anybody has any questions, or you can ask.
Hello.
Hare Krishna.
This is an interactive session, so if there is anyone who want to interact with Prabhuji, is available for another 5 to 6 minutes. Please feel free. This is a rare opportunity.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What I am asking is, there are many demons who were fighting with like Jarasandha or Kansa against the Lord. So generally we don't talk about them. They are very ordinary like that. But for me, I think they are also extraordinary, that because they have the fortune to see the Lord in their naked eye. So who are they and what they have done in their earlier life that they are able to see the Lord in their naked eye,
Very
and they are
wonderful
getting
question.
killed from the Lord's arrow?
Very nice question. Even to be killed by the Lord is a privilege. Forget to be seen by the Lord. Even to be killed by the Lord is a big privilege, because if you are killed by the Lord, means you attain salvation. So who are these people? Your question is very intelligent, and I would like to answer you that these people are not ordinary. They are also the associates of the Lord. They are only doing a role play. It's a role play. Like you have a movie, there is a hero and there is a villain. But when them out of the movie, the two of them will shake hands. They are good friends of each other. And whatever is depicted on the screen is for the sake of the story. It is for giving people a lesson. In the same way, the Lord is enacting His pastimes on the stage of the world. And He is enacting in 4 different settings: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. So the settings are different, and therefore some of the basic rules also may change according to the settings. Therefore we get confused. To give you one small example. Jai and Vijay were the gatekeepers of Vishnu in Vaikuntha. They are, not were, they are. But the Lord wanted some tough opponent to fight. You have a lot of strength, so you feel like fighting. So He wanted some tough opponent to fight. But He could not find any in the ordinary category of living entities. They were no match for Him. So He decided to choose His own bodyguards to fight. And therefore He engineered a Leela. The Chatur Kumaras came there and they tried to enter the gates of Vaikuntha. He stopped them. They stopped the Chatur Kumaras. So they cursed Jai and Vijay that, how can you stop us? We are yogis. You cannot stop us. And they gave a curse that you should go down to the earth and you should be born, should go to the material world, not the earth. Go to the material world and you should be born as demons. So in Satya Yuga they came as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. In Treta Yuga they came as Ravan and Kumbhakarna. And in Dwapar Yuga they came as Shishupala and Dantavakra. These 6 demons represent the 6 anarthas. Hiranyakashipu represents greed. Hiranyaksha represents pride. Ravan represents lust. And Kumbhakarna represents illusion. And Shishupal represents envy. And Dantavakra represents anger. So you can see, they are personification of these, and they are so powerful that they can only be subdued by the Lord and nobody else. And therefore the whole story enacts in such a way that ultimately they are subdued. And where do they go? They go back to God. So your question is very intelligent, very nice. So these demons also are not ordinary. Yeah, you are right. So if you understand this whole thing in depth, then the whole picture becomes so very clear, Then we are able to appreciate the greatness of God. And even things which is happening in our life. All these 6 demons are hiding in our heart right now. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. They are known as, there is an acronym for it, and that is I Pagal. I stands for illusion, P stands for pride, E stands for envy, G stands for greed, then lust and anger. These are the other alphabets, A and L. So it drives a man mad. Pagal आदमी को बना देता है ये. These negative forces. These negative forces actually nourish sense gratification. Whereas Purity comes when you approach Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, or His various incarnations. So this is the whole sum and substance. Thank you very much. I think we should
Anybody
stop
from
here.
Mataji line? Anybody wants?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I just want to know, if we get everything, like we get Gyan, we get everything, we get association of the devotees as well. We usually come to the temples, we do yatras with the devotees and everyone. But still, some or the other way, we sometimes have a kind of an ego. Like, see, so much of krupa we have got, and sometimes we feel kind of a ghamand. That
Pride.
even for the pride, even
Yeah.
for the krupa also we have a pride. So what is the, like, why is it like that?
That ego which you say is actually a curtain which the Lord has dropped between Himself and us. And He is hiding behind that curtain. Because when we become unqualified to see God or interact with Him directly, then He drops the curtain, and that is known as ego. Ego means instead of being God-centered, we become self-centered. We become egocentric instead of being God-centric. That is the actual understanding of ego. So, what is the treatment for that? How do you overcome that? The answer is very simple. Again, engage in devotional service. That devotional service purifies the heart, and then it will melt the ego. And when that curtain, the Lord sees that this person is now qualified, He will raise the curtain. Then within the heart, you are able to visualize the Lord. You are able to understand His compassion. You are able to understand His kindness. And then your whole thought process will change. And then instead of becoming puffed up with pride, you will become humble with humility. And that is what is required to attain God. Hare Krishna. That is what I said. Our lecture started with that. Integrity means manasa, vacha, karmana. All things should be in one straight line. That is why we need practice. That is why we need sadhana. Sadhana means you have to train under a guru, and you have to be with the devotees. You have to give your time, invest your time. That is the answer. I think we'll stop here. They can start the kirtan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.